on the panel tonight. Welcome back, gents. I'm going to go to you first, Harry. Another defeat, this time, though, to West Ham United.
Yeah.
What are you saying, bro?
I'll be real. I'm actually hurting deeply tonight. This one hurts a lot because we all know it's their cup final. And you know what? I'm going to hold my hands up and say fair enough to West Ham. You know, they capitalised on the mistakes we made and they mugged us completely off, to be honest. I knew they were going to sit back. As soon as they got that second goal, I knew it was going to happen. People were sitting there saying, oh, you know, we might be able to pull it back. Even if we scored to make it 2-2, I wouldn't have cared either way. I just want to say as well, this just makes me laugh so much because someone was saying this to me earlier about Ange. I love Ange. I'll be honest. I love the guy, but there has to come a time where you have to look at past injuries. I was blaming the injuries a couple of weeks ago. I know there was a City fan on last time blaming injuries, and I said, look, what are you talking about? But I'm not here to talk about injuries anymore. I'm here to talk about the fact that, like you said about the media's played a big part into our downfall currently. I have too. I'll admit, you guys know that from the words I said before. But to be honest with you, this whole May, Ange, and I don't care about the personality of a manager. As long as he gets me results, I don't care who he is. And tonight it's just shown. It's just honestly pathetic. Like, we should have been at least 2-3-0 up, and West Ham knew that. The second half coming in, they knew that. They knew we haven't capitalised on our chances, and I'm not speechless a lot of the time. I have a lot of things to say normally, but tonight,
you do sound in a lot of pain. I'm going to get you back on in a second. Alan is here with us. I know there was always expected to be a dip.
Yeah.
When there was the injuries, but to take the lead 5 games running, to not win any of them, to lose at home to one of your biggest rivals tonight, what went wrong tonight specifically, in your opinion? Because you started so well, you were dominating the game, you were leading, but it all fell apart again. What do you put it down to, Alan?
Not being clinical enough, not addressing key areas. You lose a player like Harry Kane, you need a top-class striker. Which we don't have. Look, the football is really good. The possession, the passing, all that, that's absolutely fine. But when you don't have anyone clinical enough, again, this is why I never signed up to the winning the league talk. Brennan Johnson, not good enough for my club. People say, oh, we'll only get better. We don't need to get better in 3 or 4 seasons. You need players to improve now. He's not good enough. Brian Hill's not good enough. Richarlison's not good enough. Skip's not good enough coming on. This is what we have to contend with. Rome, the saying Rome was a built day is absolutely true. It wasn't. It's going to take 2 or 3 seasons. This is why I'm saying the football is this good now. We're just not taking our chances and errors in defence, which we do have. Once Ange gets the players in he wants, I expect us to be what Arsenal are doing now. After 2 or 3 years, I expect Spurs to be doing that in 2 or 3 years' time. That's how good the football is. Down the line, not now, down the line. We're not clinical enough. We have the ball. The thing is, when teams sitting against us, you saw it in the second half. When Kula was on that side, we were just shifting the ball inside, and West Ham were expecting it. They knew it was coming. We can have the ball and do the tiki-taka and all that. That's fine. You have to have that clinical pass, that cut, had that cutthroat moment, which we didn't have. And then just bad luck hit Spurs. West Ham took their chances, took their luck, and it was one of them games. It's one of them where we have to get out of this flunk. We have to turn good football and all this possession and stuff like that into winning and getting back to it. People are in here trying to get a reaction. It's not going to happen. Like in the comments, we were clinical enough against Man City because they were open and played us. We have to find a way to now break down low blocks, and teams that sit in against us, we have to know how to put them to bed. We didn't do it against Villa. We didn't do it against West Ham. We should have put Luton to bed way earlier on the season, and then we made it hard for ourselves and had to win 1-0 from going 10 down. It's one of them where all these problems will get sorted out when we get the right players in. It's going to take time, but I agree with you. Like Ange, although I back this manager, again, the wrong people coming on. Like, you're taking Lo Celso off, and people go, but he's tired and all that. I'm sorry, some of them players looked absolutely dead way before on the pitch, way before Lo Celso did. And you're taking off the type of person who's going to have that clinical pass or could do that, and you leave people on that can't do it. And it makes no sense. Kulu comes into the middle, meant to come into the middle, and end up drifting right back onto the right again. The wrong decisions made. Look, I back this manager, but I can criticise him when he does things wrong. And today he managed the game wrong in the second half. West Ham allowed West Ham back in, but I'm saying on my watch along time and time again, we don't take these chances. We don't put this team to bed. It's going to come back to bite us in the arse, and it did. And it's the way it's for Spurs at the moment. Hopefully, we can just get a win and then kick on from there. But again, when we get the first team back or the people that we need, Spurs will kick on and go on another run this season. It's just not gonna happen anytime soon, because when you've got people that aren't good enough, you're always going to fall down. You're always going to take a defeat, take an L. And Spurs, you've seen that in these last 3 or 4 games. You've seen that happen just because we haven't had the quality. People go, "Oh, you can't make excuses for things." Of course you can. You take Gabriel, Saliba, and Odegaard out of Arsenal. Exactly. It happens. People can say excuses. I just don't care. I don't care.
They're not excuses, they're reasons.
Have we not been missing players? Have we not been missing players, though? Have we not missed Party and Jesus and Martinelli?
You had that.
We've missed players. I played Manchester City. I played Manchester City without Bukayo Saka, who's supposedly the one that does everything. Come on, guys.
Your bench is enough.
Everybody gets injuries. Let's not make excuses.
You've got a full informed team. Come on.
A guy without the camera on and all that's talking. Fair enough.
And then you've seen me, man. Come on.
No. Let me finish my point. I understand. I don't know your name, so I just said go with a picture off. It wasn't anything serious. I was just saying because you're the only one that has a picture off, because I don't know your name. Okay, you're saying about Arsenal having had thingies, but where are you 3 or 4 years down with how much spent and you've got a squad? Spurs don't have that, do they? That's the difference.
I understand. We'll come back to that point in a minute. I want to ask young Daniel a question here. I was sent a screenshot earlier, and I need to ask you if this is true. I got sent a screenshot that I think was from you that said, "If we win tonight, we're back in the title race." Did you really write that?
This was based on players coming back, and I believed that we would only be 6 points off of Arsenal, and it was not impossible.
No, I didn't know if it was true that you done. I didn't want to out you if it weren't you.
But on the other hand, I did also say many times that if we lose today, it's also over.
I get that, bro. I want to ask you a few things that Alan said. First one I want to ask you is Big Ange. Do you think Big Ange made mistakes again tonight in terms of in-game management, substitutions, the way the team went out hell for leather in the beginning? Do you think Ange made mistakes tonight and in your last 5 games that led to no win in 5, in your opinion?
The one thing I would say that I was a little bit, why did Ange do that, was the Giovanni Lo Celso sub. Other than that, I understand why he did it else. We can't put the blame on players missing chances. We created chances in the first half. This game was not finishing our chances, not finishing our dinner, which is the story of our season so far, pretty much. Most games we could have been up by 5 in the first half, and we've just not taken our chances. So we have to get a striker. We have to get a clinical striker or get a clinical winger and keep Sonny at striker. But that's a massive gap that you can see in the squad. We lack a goal scorer. We don't have a goal scorer. Once we get that, I will be a lot more confident going into games like these. But my days, for me, this game was just. You're gonna say it's delusional or something, but it's just unlucky. It really is. This is the pinnacle of unluckiness in sport. That first goal, when it bounces off of Romero and Ben Davis, like, what can you even do? What can you do in that situation? The second goal, yeah, of course, you can put the blame on Destiny Udogie. You can put the blame on Vicario for not grabbing the ball. But it's just bad luck at the end of the day. The way it just bounces off the post and ricochets, like an inch, that's what English football is. An inch little difference of the ball going to the right a little bit of the post and going out. It's not a goal. It's just the way that football is. It's just the way that football works. And at the end of the day, we can only look at ourselves for not finishing our chances in the first half. But for me, I don't think putting blame on Big Ange is the answer. I back Big Ange on every decision that he makes. I've been tired of these last 5 managers that we've had just constantly putting the blame on the manager, I think it's time to put the blame on something else, like the squad depth that we don't have. This man is dealing with how many injuries? I think it's at this point, I think I'm ready to just watch the football and not have any expectations and just enjoy the football until next season or the January transfer window. If we can go out and sign some players, get some squad depth, get a goal scorer, and then I'll start having expectations. But I'm never going to have expectations for this team.
Dan, you're saying about not having the expectations. Weren't you co-signing the winning the league?
Yeah, because my whole logic was that
for your expectations.
Alan, wait, Alan, wait, let me read that. My whole logic was that was January is how many days away? Like a couple of days away. My logic for that was that we would keep our players fit, get into January, and get squad depth. I didn't know we're going to go through an injury crisis. I didn't know our two best centre-backs, our most creative player that we've had in years, and most of our midfielders, our striker, and one of our best centre-backs were going to get injured. I didn't know that was going to happen. So,
but Dan, in football, suspensions and injuries, they occur. So this is why you, especially with a thin squad like we do.
I think they were going to. I thought we'd be able to write out.
About people just blaming Ange or blaming the manager or anything like that. Okay, I blame the manager here, but I also said that certain players weren't good enough. So I blamed several players, and then I said Ange has to take blame too. I back Ange. Again, I'm not sitting here saying Ange out or anything like that. I reckon Ange will do a great job, gets the right players in 2 or 3 years down the line. Once the buildings happen, we'll do good. Like he'll win us a trophy. I honestly believe that. The type of football we're playing now with some of this dross that we still got. But it's going to take time. I'm not going to sit here and say that everything's rosy because it's not. I'm not going to get ahead of myself because it's not. Because literally, none of this would be happening to Spurs fans in regards to channels and stuff like that if people didn't get ahead of themselves. It's just the way it is in football.
And Alan, I want to.
It's true. It's true.
I want to say as well, and Dan, I want to say this to you. I know I've been renowned for the things I've said in the past, and definitely I've bitten my bullets. Like you know that I've held my hands up and I've said, look, when no one else was on it, Terry was here and I stood up and I said, look, I was wrong. But what I want to say is what I said a minute ago. How long can we keep blaming injuries and players being suspended for? Today is a game where there was no excuses. You can call it luck, but I call it capitalization. West Ham took their 2 chances. They took them. We didn't take all the other chances we had. And that's why we lost today. It's not about injuries. It didn't.
I said that.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question, Dan. I want to ask a question. I get what you're saying. You're going to sit back and enjoy the football and have little expectations. Does that you could be 8th or 9th by your next game? If you're sitting 8th or 9th in your next game, you're at a point where your season isn't looking too dissimilar from Chelsea's, who have been absolutely ripped to pieces. You could be behind Man United, who have been absolutely ripped to pieces by the mainstream media. Does your mindset not change on that? Or is it very much a case until this manager's had 2, 3, 4 windows, I have zero expectations on where we finish in the league. It's just about how good the football is. Like, what's your stance on that, mate?
I don't want to obviously drop down to like 18, obviously, but like what I'm trying to say is that I don't have expectations of, let's say, Champions League football, or I will never have expectations of title race again. Like that's what I'm trying to say. Obviously, falling behind by teams like Manchester United, who have been absolutely crap. No disrespect to you, Terry. And teams like Chelsea, who are one of the worst teams in the Big Six that we've seen this season. Falling behind teams like that is unacceptable. But I'm saying, like, in terms of goals, like top 4 or maybe even Europa League, I'm not going to have those type of goals this season. But I would like to see my team win. That's non-negotiable. I will love to see my team win. Every time my team wins, I will celebrate. But for now, I'm just not going to have expectations. I'm going to let this season finish, watch how we behave in the summer transfer window next season, and then I'm going to put expectations on this team.
Jerome, do you agree with that logic and that take towards the standards and expectation of this side that has just lost or failed to win in the last 5 games?
Look, the standard is the thing for this season. It's not high. I'm not like any other Spurs fan that's going to say, oh, first of all, can you guys hear me correctly with this?
Yeah, all good, man.
Oh, good. Yeah, look, I'm not going to be here saying, and you know me, Terry, I told you since the start of the season, there's no talk about winning the league, no talk about title challenge with me or anything. Expectation for me is wherever we finish, it's fine because we are in a rebuild. This team, like Alan said, it's 100% right. It's not going to be now. We are building for the future. 2 to 3 years down the road, this is what we are building for. And we can see what the guy is doing. And we can always say like, oh yeah, game management and everything, but we didn't expect that many injuries. 11 players out. 11. I know a lot of players with many teams have injuries, Brighton and all, like Manchester United, Chelsea and all, they all had injuries. But we don't have the depth as in Manchester United, as in Chelsea, or even in Brighton. We don't have the depth as them. Okay? And to the Arsenal fans sitting there and telling us, Partey, they don't have Partey, they didn't have Saka when they beat Man City. I'm sorry, you have Trossard, you have Declan Rice, where you spend 110 million on him, and don't come and complain you don't have Partey, don't complain you don't have anything. Just tell me one thing, once you lose Gabriel and you lose Saliba at the back, let's just hear you all crying. Because it's a different thing to lose your 2 best centre-back. It's completely a different thing. So do not come and tell me that you don't have Partey and anything like that, when your bench is already a lot of money there. There's a lot of money on that bench for Arsenal already. So do not compare us and do not talk about injuries with us, because it's not the same. It is not the same. Terry can tell us about Manchester United suffering injuries because they have. And they're getting their players back, and we can see the change in this team. So calm down about the injury talk, about saying, oh, you don't have Partey. So calm down about this. But again,
I'm
for
just saying
us,
about injuries, bro. There's no need to get upset, bro. I'm just saying everybody has
I'm
injuries.
not upset.
Everybody has
I'm not
injuries.
upset.
That's all I'm
just telling
saying.
you.
I
That's
hate
the
that
All
same.
I'm saying.
everybody gets injuries. That
And
narrative
to
is
be honest, Jerome, it's not even about you, Jerome, or Alan, or any. Listen, the main reason why I come onto these match reactions, yeah, for these Tottenham fans, yeah, is because I come in for the fraudulent ones, the ones that sit there and with a straight face and tell me that Romero is better than Saliba. They sit there with a straight face and they tell me 100%, you know, Romero is better than Saliba.
I'm sorry, what?
Look,
With a straight
What
face.
does this game have to do?
have you ever heard of football tribalism? Have you ever heard of this? I'm a Tottenham fan. Do you believe that when I'm going to say we compare Romero and Saliba, I'm going to say, oh, it's Saliba. Even deep down, I know Saliba is 10 times better than Romero. I'm going to tell you to your face, you an Arsenal fan, I'm going to tell you Romero is better, Saliba is better than Romero. Really? Come on, man. I'm never going to tell you this.
Jerome, you're logical, bro. You're logical.
I hear what's being said here. I want to.